Wuyi Yan Cha, also known as Wuyi rock tea, can be made out of many different cultivars, and most of them have really strange names that bring a lot of confusion in our head. So what about bringing together some clarity in our thoughts? Let's speak about the cultivars of Wuyi rock tea. Hi guys, this is Gabriele from nannuoshan, where we share the pleasure of drinking and discovering genuine farm tea. If you're new here in our channel and you're also looking to expand your tea knowledge and brewing skills, then make sure to click on the subscribe button. And don't forget to give us a thumbs up if at any point of time you enjoy watching. Today I would like to speak to you about the cultivar of Wuyi rock tea. Today actually here I am in DC, in Washington DC. It is strangely cold actually for this time of the year. And you see I have a long shirt today, and I thought drinking some rock tea. In fact, I've been drinking rock tea the whole day. And then I thought, what about doing a video about rock tea? Because there are so many cultivars out there that I know is really confusing. And I would say some of the oddest name of cultivars appear when speaking about Wuyi rock tea. So of course here I'm drinking a Wuyi rock tea today, and you will know soon which one I'm drinking actually, because I will speak about it very soon. But what about first of all making a short summary, taking very high level. First of all, Wuyi rock tea in Chinese, it's a Wuyi Yan Cha. So let's see what does that mean. First of all, the word Wuyi, which is pronounced with the falling rising Wuyi and a rising E tone, so Wuyi. Shan actually, because it's Wuyi mountain, so Wuyi is the shortening for Wuyi mountain, Wuyi Shan. And Wuyi doesn't mean really nothing. I mean, it means something, but it's just the name of a place, so in the Wuyi mountain. And then we have the word Yan Cha, which means actually cliff tea. Yan Cha is pronounced with two rising tone, Yan Cha. And it doesn't mean exactly rock tea, it means actually cliff tea. So Wuyi Yan Cha means the cliff tea from the Wuyi mountain. And before I forget, I have to pour out my tea. So as you know, there are many different cultivars out of which Yan Cha can be made. And during the history, there have been some of them that have been popular at a certain time, and some other that became popular later on, and so on. So there is a little bit of a mix. But let's start from the very basic. So the four famous tea bushes. In Chinese, it is say Si Da Ming Zong, which is two falling tone, Si Da, and two rising tone, Ming Zong. And this means simply four big famous bushes. Now actually the wording Da Ming that means famous is actually can be seen in two ways. It can be seen like a big famous, or together can simply mean famous, whatever. You can translate those as the four great bushes. And when you speak about Si Da Ming Zong, it's very clear that you're speaking about Wuyi Yan Cha, about those four cultivars that made history basically. So let's look at, and I'm drinking now one of those. You can start guessing which one. And now let's have a look at the different name of these four famous tea bushes. So we have Shui Jingui, which is Shui, falling rising, Jingui, which means golden turtle. Actually, to be more precise, Shui Jingui means Shui means water, Jin means gold, and Gui means turtle. So it's water golden turtle, or if you want, the golden water turtle. So it's not the turtle that stays out of the water, there are also those, is the one that goes in the water. And this is the tea that I'm drinking right now, Shui Jingui. If by the time you watch this video, Shui Jingui is not yet on our website, it will be there soon. So just hold on, we have it on stock, we're just finishing describing it, tasting it, and then we'll be online. So we say Shui Jingui. By the way, I told you before that in the world of Yan Cha there are many strange names, and today out of those names I will tell you all the famous one, but I really want that you remember really only the words that make sense. Like the word gui for turtle appears in tea culture only in this specific cultivar, so it's not really worthy remembering it if you want. But if you look at the other two words, shui and jin, water and gold, those are very important words. They, of course, water anyway is good if you know how to say water in Chinese, and of course water and tea go well together. But also the word jin for gold is very, very important. Think about, for example, jinjomei, which is a famous black tea. Also there is the word jin, which is gold. All right, let's continue with the other four famous tea bushes. Then we have tie luo hang. So it is two rising tone, tie luo hang. Now, tie, we have already encountered this word in previous video about Chinese tea lexicon, means iron. You might remember it because of Tie Guanyin, the iron goddess of mercy. So there is the word iron, is an important word for tea. You want to remember that word. While luo hang is not very famous, okay? Luo hang appears actually only in the name of this cultivar. It means, if you want, wise man, or actually it is arhat, the Buddhist arhat that have reached nirvana. So it's the iron arhat. Tie luo hang. All right, then we have another very, very interesting cultivar, and maybe the most peculiar, one of the most peculiar oolong cultivar that I know, is Bai Jiguan. So Bai is rising, and then Jiguan. Now Bai Jiguan, again, the word Bai means white, like in Bai Cha, white tea. You want to remember that word. But Jiguan is not really very useful in the world of tea, and actually it means cock comb, or if you want, the comb of the rooster, but is also the name of a flower, the white cock comb. And now here you start seeing some problems that appears actually with many of the Yan Cha cultivar, that some names given to cultivar may have different meanings, completely different. It can be the white comb of the cock, but can also be a white flower. And no one really knows, because it's a mixture of legend and it's basically have been lost in translation over the centuries. So in this case, it's one of those cases that we don't really know where the name comes from, because actually there is a legend that connects it with a rooster, but maybe it's also because of a floral taste. Although I wouldn't say really that Bai Jiguan is really a very floral rock tea. So I already told you three of them, right? Shui Jingui, Tie luo hang, Bai Jiguan. There is a fourth one, and of course you know it because you are missing it, and it is Da Hong Pao. So Da Hong Pao, it is Da, fourth tone, Hong Pao. And you see that the word Da, we've already encountered it twice in this video, because also the Si Da Ming Zong, the four big famous bushes, have the word Da, the word big. This is a very important word. You want to remember it if you want, along with the word xiao, which means small. So xiao and da means small and large, and you find the two words in many different aspects of tea. Also, for example, in one of the first videos that I made about Chinese tea lexicon, where we distinguish between the small leaf variety, the xiao ye zhong, and the large leaf variety, da ye zhong. Just, you know, to connect a little bit the two words and different lessons that we've seen together. So now, Da Hong Pao means big red robe. And also this name is related to a legend. I don't want to go now into all this legend in detail. We want to speak about the meanings and the different cultivars. And actually, you know what? Da Hong Pao is not a cultivar. It is maybe the most famous Chinese tea blend, if you want, because the original mother bushes or mother trees of Da Hong Pao are 6 different teas, and 4 of them are completely independent from each other. They don't have the same genetic the same gene if you want. They have actually, there are four trees that were planted out of seeds, so they are completely different from each other, and a mixture of those trees originally was meant to be Da Hong Pao. The other two trees are actually clones of one of the other four, or two of the other four trees. A big mess. As a matter of fact, nowadays, actually, if you want, you have two approaches to what we call Da Hong Pao. Since 2006, it is forbidden to harvest those 6 bushes. So the last time they were harvested in 2005. And today, when you buy a Da Hong Pao, it can be either what usually people refer to as a typical Da Hong Pao cultivar, which is usually either Beidou or Chidan. I will tell you more about those in a second. Or it can be just generally speaking a Yan Cha, because Yan Cha is not, the word in Yan Cha is not so famous in China. Da Hong Pao is much more famous. So sometimes you use the word in Da Hong Pao to refer to the whole category. Now, I say, you have usually 2 cultivars that are actually really recognized to be somewhat of the Da Hong Pao family. One is Chidan, or actually Chidan, which is a rising tone, Chi, and then Dan, which means something like strange or odd vermilion, which is also tonality of red. So like Da Hong Pao, the big red rope, and Chidan, the odd, strange vermilion, are kind of even color-wise related. And this is definitely a cultivar that have the rights to be a Da Hong Pao cultivar, because recent studies, I think studies made in 2009 by the Agricultural University in Fuzhou, where I have been a few times, and they have done a study and they have really looked at the genetic material of those famous 6 bushes, and they have realized that 2 of them, I believe 2 of them, are related with the cultivar Chidan. So, or Chidan, I always miss that high tone. While the other cultivar, this is very often used for Da Hong Pao, it is Beidou. We have already encountered this word when I spoke to you about the north, south, east and west, the different directions, because Bei means actually north, but Beidou, which is a first tone Bei and then falling rising Do, is actually a constellation, the Big Dipper. So although this cultivar is often used for Da Hong Pao, it is actually have no genetical relationship with the 6 mother bushes. It is probably used because its taste was recognized to be close to the one of the original blend. Who knows? But just for your knowledge, I mean, it's definitely fine if you buy a Da Hong Pao that is made of Beidou. Nowadays it's common practice, but just that you know that those leaves have nothing really to do with the original 6 mother bushes. All right. Now that I told you which are the 4 famous bushes, I have to tell you also that depending the people you are asking, they would list different 4 famous bushes or 4 famous cultivars. That's history. Nowadays, other cultivars that I will mention soon became more popular, and so there is the tendency of replacing some of those very old ones with the new one. One that actually sometimes is really put in the game is also Ban Tian Yao, which is a falling tone, Ban, and then Tian Yao, 2 first tone. Now this is another cultivar that you don't really know, you don't really need to remember the whole meaning, but Ban, or Ban actually, is an important word because it means half. And it's a word, maybe it's not very useful in tea, but the word half appears a lot in Chinese speaking, and definitely also the word Tian appears a lot because Tian means day. So half day is Ban Tian, and Yao means waist. So Ban Tian Yao means midday waist. Also here the naming is related to a legend, and if you look at another legend to clarify this name, it would have a little bit of a different meaning, but whatever, right? Okay, so now that I told you which are the 4 famous, or if you want 5 famous tea bushes, you have to know that unfortunately, in my opinion, those are no more very popular. Of course, the Hong Pao is, but all the other, they don't give a big yield for the crop, and over and over again they are being replaced with other more modern cultivars that have definitely also a good taste for sure, but they are not really the original and traditional one. Nowadays they are already recognized as typical rock teas because they have been used for doing rock tea for decades, but certainly not for centuries like the one that like those that I just told you about. One is raw goe. Raw goe is two falling tone, raw goe, and we have encountered that in the past. It means cinnamon, Chinese cinnamon or cassia. The word raw, sorry, you want to remember because it means also meat, and if you go in China and you want to order food, you will have a lot of the time, you will have the word meat in that if you are not vegetarian. Now, this is a very strong, very powerful taste. That's why it's called cinnamon. It is spicy, it is very intense, and usually it is even roasted heavily to even enhance the peculiarity of the tea that is being so strong. Another famous cultivar nowadays that is not so, doesn't have such a male taste, is more, if you want the female taste maybe, is shui xian. And you see again the word shui, which means water, and xian, which means spirit or fairy. Again, depending on how do you see this name, it have also different meaning. So the word shui xian means water spirit or water fairy, but actually it's also the name of a flower, the gardenia, exactly with the same character. Usually it is translated as gardenia, but if you want, you can definitely also keep in your mind water spirit. I like that. I prefer to remember that for whichever reason. Shui xian, there is one aspect of shui xian I want to tell you. There are really good old bushes shui xian in Wuyi Shan region. I really like that taste. I had a Lao Zong shui xian. This is the naming for old bush. I will tell you that in a second. I had it just before this tea. I really love that taste, and it is they are fairly high bushes, can be double my size, and it doesn't have to be super old, but definitely old enough to develop that height. And as said, it is called Lao Zong, so it is falling rising, Lao Zong, first tone, and then again shui xian, so it's falling rising high, Lao Zong, shui xian, and means old bush water spirit. Now the word Lao, you want to remember, old is a very important word. You will see it in a lot of other topic in tea, is important. Also the word Zong, already, for example the Feng Huan Dan Zong, the Phoenix single bush, another category of famous oolong tea, have the word Zong in it, that means bush. And I need to drink a little bit of tea. With that, actually, I have covered already most of the famous cultivars. There are many others, right? I don't want now to stay here forever. If you're interested, also those that are a little bit more peculiar maybe, or more modern, let me know. I can make a dedicated video on that. Just, write in the description below, Gabriele, please let me know also which are the most strange and rare cultivar for Yan Cha. I want to search for them. Let me know, I will do that. There is just one more I want to mention, another cultivar that is also relatively old, that originally comes not from Wuyi Shan, but from a county that is not too far off Wuyi Shan. I think it is Jian'ou, I think is the name. It is southeast of Wuyi Shan County, and it is Aijiao. So it is two falling rising tone, Aijiao. And Aijiao is a strange meaning. It means actually short foot. And you don't want to remember those names, you don't need them for in the tea world. But why I want to mention this plant? Not necessarily because it's one of the super famous one, but because arguably it is the same cultivar as Qingxin, which is the most famous cultivar for Taiwan oolong. So I told you in other videos about Professor Wu Zhenduo, who is the godfather of Taiwan oolong, and he also contributed to bringing this Chinese cultivar from Fujian to Taiwan. I'm not 100% sure because it's very difficult to find reliable information, but I would say there is a high likelihood that these two cultivars are exactly the same cultivar. They are just called in a different way, and they certainly have a lot of commonalities because both, yeah, maybe it's the same, are actually very strong against the cold temperature, so they can really also grow at an altitude, and they don't have a very high yield. For this reason, actually, other cultivars were introduced in Taiwan that bring more crop. Okay, with that, I hope you have now a little bit more clarity in the word of the cultivar of Wuyi tea. I know it's many words. I try to point out those for you that are really important to remember. If you want, I can make a short summary of those important words that you want to remember. We have, well, also the number if you want. I told you Si Da means on the 4 big famous bushes. The word Si means 4. In another video, I think the second one about Chinese tea lexicon, we had the word 1 and 2, E, R. And then if you want, I can tell you also the word for 3, which is Sang. So you have E, R, Sang, Se. It is 1, 2, 3, 4. It is E, Sang is 2 first tone, E, Sang, and R, Se is 2 falling tones. Okay, other words that you want to remember from this video is the word Da, which means big, large. The word Ming, which means famous. The word Shui, which means water. The word Jing, which means golden. The word, let me think, the tone Tie is rising, Tie, which means iron, another metal. And the word Bai, which means white, and I would say those are really the most famous one. If you want, you can remember also the word Hong, like Hong Cha, red tea, which is our black tea, the word Lao, which means old, and so on. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that brought more clarity than confusion. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up and go ahead, subscribe our channel if you haven't done yet, and more videos like this will come your way very soon. Thank you guys, bye bye.